Peace and greetings. Welcome to the Cornish Temple. So I put up the post in regards to Abraham Lincoln's wax statue melting, and immediately I thought of Albert Pike's statue being destroyed. So I feel that may be some kind of justice or something divinely indeed. I was wanting to speak about John Wilkes Booth and the Golden Circle. I was reading a testimony from a mother who said she hired Albert Pike to represent her in regards to a real estate dispute with Grant and the federal troops taking it, right? And while they was outside speaking, she claims he's seen John Wilkes Booth, but he was like spooked. He was like, oh, like that's John Wilkes Booth. Like he was scared. And she was like, well, go on in the house. And they rushed in the house. And this was supposed to be after the suicide or after he died or whatever. And the Golden Circle, they wanted to extend the slave states into Cuba and what they call Mexico, which is Cuba is the Moro castle in regards to the Moors. And that's why Noble Drew Ali went to Cuba in 1928. And Albert Pike is connected with someone who had authority in Cuba. Also, Albert Pike tried to escape and go to Canaan land, which is known as Canada, and they arrested him and took him to Washington to the president. But also Noble Drew Ali went to Canaan land too. Again, the Golden Circle and John Wilkes Booth was trying to extend the slave states. As soon as they seen Albert Pike gave a oath to the Constitution and nationality, it was over. That's why he tried to get in the house. He knew John Wilkes Booth was going to try to harm him because he wasn't trying to mess around with the caste system game no more and enlarge the slave states. But see, you had a window. That's where the split happened between Albert Pike and John Wilkes Booth, because John Wilkes Booth chose to stay trying to play the game of the caste system and take advantage of people through acquiescence. Albert Pike gave an oath to the Constitution, and it was published in the newspaper numerous times. Also, we have the short, and we did the read-through of the Know Nothings with Albert Pike, and the nationality is the sole rule of the order. It is the healing balm and the strengthening plaster, which inside of the Constitution, nationality is enshrined. And he was with the Know Nothings. The sole rule order was nationality. He chose the right window. But John Wilkes Booth wanted to continue to take advantage and usurp people's hereditimates by color caste system games. In regards to Albert Pike and Lincoln, the relationship after the Pea Ridge atrocities with John Drew and Albert Pike, Abraham Lincoln put a warrant of death out on John Drew and Albert Pike. So that's why everybody's saying that John Wilkes Booth was connected with Albert Pike. However, whether they was or not at that time, when the nationality came, when it come time to choose colorable terms or nationality, he went the other path from John Wilkes Booth. But when you really think about it with Abraham Lincoln in regards to the 14th and 15th Amendment, that was putting you back into slavery. There was no emancipation, and emancipation ain't even really having freedom. You still went back into the black and white caste system under the 14th and 15th Amendment all the way into today. I have the pamphlet of the Golden Circle by a member, and they specifically say that they thought that the Constitution was tyrant. So again, as soon as they seen Albert Pike gave an oath to it, because he was trying to save himself with nationality and independence, virtue, which brings me back to when I was a child and I took a trip to Washington, D.C. on a school field trip. And I was a young child, but we went to the temple, but we also went to the bloody pillow in bed where Abraham Lincoln, after he got shot, they laid him there. And as a child, I stood at that bed and looked at the bloody pillow. But in regards to Albert Pike, that's my bloodline. At Pea Ridge, Albert Pike and John Drew was fighting against those trying to support their institutions on slavery and inequality. Indeed, I have the documents of Abraham Lincoln sending 2 Colt pistols to the Moorish Sultan, who had de facto European powers behind the throne, for concessions. And again, he decided to still continue administrating with the colored system, white and black, the caste system. Everybody was supposed to declare their nationality and get independence. Then right after Albert Pike passes in King Calicoy, 1901 and 1910, you have the Scottish chieftain, Aubrey MacLean, coming with the Moorish ambassador to the King of England, meeting at St. James. It's a Masonic ritual. They all was selling out together because the popes of Rome, the Queen of England, Abraham Lincoln, all of them was sending gifts to the Moorish Sultan that was willing to sell out the Moorish Empire, trying to have a coup d'etat. That's why you had the French protectorate in the Moorish Empire, because they all took over the Moorish Empire and colonized it. So I see it as divine that I stood at that bed and seen that blood on the pillow. I see it as divine that Abraham Lincoln statue melted by the sun reflecting off of Venus into the cosmos. That's what you get for saying Albert Pike was worshiping Lucifer, trying to talk down on him when he was studying Venus, the consecrating of Venus with Earth and the moon, the Hittite double eagle, facing east and west with one body as the whole Moorish Empire. Indeed, the Magi we learned our gnosis from, they had on golden fezzes and it had the lunar and solar calendars etched on them. They was scientists. Magi Moorish scientists, and that's why you have the 9 star, like with the cross with Albert Pike, the 9 star, which they call the Star of Bethlehem. Actually, it's the reflection of the sun off of Venus in conjunction with Mars. They knew the advent of a Messiah was coming, which was actually, again, a Moorish Messiah. The return of Jesus was Noble Drew Ali. The Scottish Rite had the English table lodge within their quote-unquote bosom, or whatever they call it. However, their sign was a blue circle with the white background with the yod signal. And when you look at with the yod sign, and when you look at the yod sign, it's the 10th letter in Hebrew, and it looks like a 7. That's Noble Drew Ali's gnosis. That's the Moorish gnosis. So we just saw our studies over here, brothers and sisters. It feels good to be of the bloodline, not to be a voucher, not to give an oath and spread shame upon my face and those that accept it. Oh, it's good to be the bloodline, indeed, and honor my foremothers and forefathers through nationality and birthright. Divine honors the Prophet Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish divine and national movement of the world. And Ali is connected again with Albert Pike through the 9-pointed star. That's the Baha, which was brought forth by Mizra Ali. But both of them was practicing the uniting of humanity. They didn't bring nothing new. Sometimes for people that never seen something, to them it's new, but it was ancient to those that's always known, which Noble Drew Ali or Mizra Ali was bringing to you keys that was loosened from Allah, that was kept secret from the outside world. And the one chosen to bring that to humanity is an angel, a thought of Allah manifested in flesh, to bring the message of truth to humanity for the perfection of oneself, which is the yod, which looks like a number 7, which Noble Drew Ali has on the Moorish Holy Quran, and he has the pendant on his left breast. And on the other side it has love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when love, truth, peace, and freedom is ignored, justice must then take its course. And that's what's going to happen if you do not honor your foremothers and forefathers. Also in regards to the 7 or the yod, it said that it was adorned by a hanging tag, which is the tassel on a fez. In the Celtic troglodyte and Magi Moorish master demonstration, I show where the Celtic troglodyte also had a pendant that looked like a 7, but it looked like an axe as well. But it's also the yod, the perfection of man, the unfolding of perfection. You must unfold into perfection so that repentance be forgotten. You'll never have to ask Allah for repentance because you'll forget about sin because it's not done for so long. Unfold into perfection and be just so that repentance be forgotten. You must be just indeed. In the playlist of the Cornish Temple, we have the transactions of the temple, where I put down the facts in regards to the contradictions of Scottish Rite Masonry today, the Shriners and everybody, in regards to the way Albert Pike had his administration. It's in total contradiction, but I'm not trying to attack, but I have facts and I put them in the transactions in the playlist. But they have documents and manuscripts of my grandfather that I need to study so that I could get further unfolding into my perfection. Like the Golden Book. I want to go through the Golden Book. I seen that he had the triple cross, which they call the Salem cross. That's the Salam, just like the Yod. Or Albert Pike said, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom when he passed. But that's Salam, Salam, Salam. That's just the different slang like potato, potato. Like Arabic and Aramaic is the same language, it's just different pronunciation. Again, I would like to study my forefathers from the bloodline, his manuscripts, because they can have them all day long, but they can't decipher them. Because all they have is the ritual. They don't have the gnosis. They lost the gnosis. All they have is the ritual. And if I go through the manuscripts, I'm going to be able to unfold and come out with things for the Moors, and it'll help them uplift. Albert Pike said he wanted Hiram to reach his highest potential, the pinnacle of wisdom, which they already have. But you have people who are gatekeepers that's sitting on different lateral lines on the earth, keeping locked the Moorish Empire. But they're colonizers. But Allah's the best of planners. Indeed, in regards to Venus, everything's governed, and I'm a Libra, governed by Venus. So that's why that statue melted. That's a payback. And to all those that have the shiny buildings to show that they honor Albert Pike, or they spend finance and put up balloons and signs and have little bacon breakfast parties and all this stuff, you got the Pike bloodline coming with the red flag with the 5-pointed green star Venus, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So you need to take heed on that. This is no coincidence. You have a Pike coming to you with the Venus star telling you to take heed. And if you would like to contact me to allow me to study the manuscripts, you can reach me at thecornishtemple@gmail.com or the temple number 270-267-3113. And that is a Text Now Wi-Fi app number for the temple. I leave you in peace and love. I hope you enjoyed the demonstration and got some information out of it. Maybe it let you make a little bit of sense, you know. Some people in the South wanted independence and nationality. They said forget that caste system. But some people wanted to continue to support their institutions on slavery and inequality. And there was people willing to acquiesce through ignorance and call themselves white and black and still play the caste system. I leave you in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Salam, 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 shalom, 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 Islamism, Islamism, Islamism. Peace